Well, good evening, everybody. It's Jennifer Elizabeth Masters here. My website is jenniferelizabethmasters.com. My email address is jenniferelizabethmasters@gmail.com. And tonight I want to talk about speaking up for oneself. Hi, Helen. Thanks for joining. Nice to see you. This is a subject that is near and dear to my heart. I grew up in a family where things were lovely and then they weren't. And my father would go from 0 to 60. And what I'm talking about is he would make a statement, and if he didn't have agreement or there was somebody, especially my mother, who was in disagreement, then he would get instantly upset and his anger would just skyrocket. And so generally speaking, because he was a big man with a big booming voice, all he had to do was raise his voice and everybody would get silent. And so in our household, dinner conversations with 4 kids at the table and my parents were often silent. And I know I'm not the only one that has experienced this type of behavior. And when my parents were upset with one another, and I'll give you an example, my dad forgot my mother's birthday. Oh my goodness, I'll never forget that year. And I don't think anyone else in my family would forget it either. So this particular birthday, he totally forgot my mother's birthday. And so she told us kids, as my little brother and I, get dressed, we're going out for dinner. And so we left the house and left and had dinner out. And that was an interesting time. So for the 2 weeks following my mother's birthday, there was silence. My parents did not speak. So what is really important in a conversation is to have conversation, to have words. It's important in a relationship to have good communication, because if we suck at communication, then we can't have an understanding. We're often keeping things to ourselves. It could be a simple thing as, where would you like to go out to eat? And you say, well, anything but Mexican, and your partner goes, well, let's go have Mexican. And so what you could do is say nothing and go along thinking that, oh, well, it's better for me to say nothing. I'll just be quiet. I'll keep the fact that I don't like Mexican. It's not my favorite food. I'll keep that quiet and I'll just suck it up because, you know, hey, I'll take one for the team. And it's the worst thing that we can do, because what happens is over time, these little things that seem like such small things become very, very big. And, you know, if we keep sweeping things under the rug, pretty soon we're going to need a bigger carpet. And so if you're walking on eggshells, or if you've walked on eggshells in your family of origination, then it could be that you have an issue with communication, and it's something we need to practice. So in my work with my clients, one of the things I teach is self-care. Why is that? Well, one of the things that we have a tendency to do, especially if we're codependent, we put the needs of ourselves last, and that is never a good thing. We have to take care of ourselves in many ways, and I'm not talking about, you know, like my client yesterday, her back was hurting, and what did she do? She went and got her nails done. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about taking care of your mind, body, spirit so that you feel good about you and asking for what you want. So I have a little system, and it's called CARE. So the first thing we need to do is have a conversation. We need to make eye contact with our partners. We need to talk about things. We need to let them know what it is we would prefer. And of course, we need to listen. You know, a conversation is give and take. We can't just have it one way where we're just the one that is dictating. We don't want to be like that. A good relationship is one where we have communication that flows, this giving and receiving, just like the love, giving and receiving. Like the act of making love, is it giving and receiving? If it's all one way, somebody's going to get angry and resentful. So the first thing is to converse, to talk, to make eye contact. And I highly recommend that you touch yourself here and they touch themselves and their thyroid area as well. This I call the high heart center. It is a chakra that most people don't talk about. Very powerful. It's the thyroid. But if you have an issue speaking, it would be very helpful, first of all, to breathe while you're talking. Breathe through your words. And when you're not in conversation with your partner, sing, because most likely your throat chakra is blocked. And robin's egg blue is the color of this chakra, but you also want to exercise it. If you've historically shut up and been mute and not spoken your truth and kept these things quiet, then you need to really practice in a safe space. And singing is a really good way to help to open the throat chakra. Okay, so C, care. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to have a conversation. And when we're talking to our partner or our friend, whoever it is we're having this conversation with, we need to acknowledge. So if someone says something and it upsets us or hurts our feelings, we need to say, you know, that doesn't feel good to me. I feel upset. I feel a little triggered. I actually am feeling uncomfortable in this moment. So we need to acknowledge how we feel. Acknowledging how we feel and the emotions that are coming up is, you know, it's witnessing. And rather than allowing things to escalate like my parents did and yelling at one another, if you feel yourself being really deeply triggered by something, then what you want to do is take a step back. You want to regroup. And in this regroup, you may say, you know, I need a little time. I am going to go wash my face. I'm going to go brush my teeth. I may go take a walk and come back in 10 minutes when I'm feeling like I am more centered in my body and I'm not so emotionally triggered. And maybe do a little processing. You could sit quietly, journal. What is it that I'm feeling? Where have I felt these feelings before? Often when we're triggered, it is nothing to do with what's going on in the moment. It's more to do with what happened 20, 30, 40 or more years ago. So the trigger was placed there probably by our parents, and that's what they did. You know, it's it's what they did. So we want to have a conversation. That's the C. We want to acknowledge when we start feeling emotions or feel triggered. We want to regroup or want to back up, take a little time out, breathe, and then we want to E, engage. So after we've had a little bit of time to think through, what was this about? Why was I upset? Was it really what they said, or was the tone what triggered me? Was it the words? Was it the tone? Or did I feel like I wasn't heard? Was I not listened to? Did they not get me? Because we all want to be validated. We all want to be loved. And so those are the 4 steps. We want to have a conversation. We want to acknowledge when we start feeling emotions coming up or being triggered. We want to regroup, take a step back, go take a walk, journal, write, ask questions. When did this happen before? And then we want to come back and engage with our partner or their friend or whoever it is that we're having the issue with. Maybe it's a parent, could be a family member. So that is what we need to do, take care of ourselves, because I'm here to tell you it is impossible to have a relationship without having some sort of conflict at some time. And often what we feel is anger because we have not spoken our truth, like Karma's doing right now. She's letting me know she needs to go for a walk, and she's been silent all this time. So we really need to pay attention to what we're feeling, what we're experiencing, but ignoring it is not going to make it go away, because what it does is it just sweeps it under the carpet. It'll come back to haunt us and bite us in the butt, and then we'll end up exploding, which is never a good thing. And when we do, we typically go into blame. So that's my care package for tonight. Conflict is inevitable. It is inevitable. We just need to learn how to work through it and not be afraid of it, because when we can really communicate through our issues, that's when we can create deep intimacy and connection, not by ignoring how we feel and suppressing our needs. I'm Jennifer Elizabeth Masters, and thank you so much for being here. Thanks for watching. I love you. And if you enjoyed this video, share it with a friend. My website is Jennifer Elizabeth Masters, and if you're interested in working with me, send me an email or a Facebook message and book a discovery session to find out how we could work together. I love you. Good night.